Hey there, Elizabeth Hines here, back with another What I Eat in a Day video. So a couple reminders. In my last video, I explained how I am following intermittent fasting, which means most days I drink black coffee and plain water from the time I get up until I decide to break my fast, which is usually around 3 with another cup of coffee, but then I'll put cream in it and collagen. So I usually break my fast anywhere from 3 up until 6. I'm kind of pushing that back because I've been doing this for about a month, maybe a little bit longer. And I have found that I really feel best if I don't really eat until dinner. So, I'll break my fast with that coffee with something in it, and maybe a light snack like an apple and some almonds. And then I feel really great. If I eat something more substantial, then I'm just not hungry for dinner. And yet I know I need that nutrition. So that's just the way I'm eating. So that's one thing. And then a little caveat is that we all have different bodies and different nutritional needs. You probably know that I support a functional medicine lifestyle. That's what I recommend, especially if you're trying to manage a chronic health condition like autoimmune disease without medication. Diet and lifestyle is where it's at, and I'm walking, talking proof that it's possible to live a thriving, healthy life without these strong immune modulating drugs and other types of medications that are typically given to people with chronic disease. But you have to make these choices. So that's what you're going to see me eating. So under that umbrella of functional medicine, there are all sorts of different diets that you might want to be following. Maybe it's paleo, maybe it's autoimmune paleo, maybe it's a GAPS diet or a low FODMAP diet, or there's a new one for people with irritable bowel disease, inflammatory bowel disease, which would be Crohn's and colitis, and it's called the AID diet, AID, and it is similar to autoimmune paleo, but it's different, similar but different. And so you have to find the diet that works for you, and then within that also, how often do you eat? How much do you eat? The old recommendation of eat 6 to 8 small meals a day might work for some people, but for the majority of our population that is overweight, that has body fat that they need to lose, eating that often just constantly keeps your insulin levels high, which is going to not help your body shed the fat. It's going to make your body just store all of that you're eating, and that's not the way you want to go if you're trying to lose body fat. So all that to say, I'm showing you what I eat as someone who follows a paleo type diet. We do eat some grass-fed dairy. Aside from that, we're mostly paleo. Sometimes we'll eat some white rice, occasionally some gluten-free oatmeal. Those are the only grains. So that's why I say paleo template. Paleo being grain-free, dairy-free, soy-free, legume-free, refined sugar, and oil-free. And I typically follow intermittent fasting. But it's Sunday, and one of the things that is so great about intermittent fasting, say that 3 times fast, is that, there are no rules really. You have to find what works for your body, but your body loves homeostasis. Say that together, everybody. Homeostasis. Your body likes things to be the same and constant. And so it's constantly trying to figure out what you're doing so it can match your energy input, which would be the calories that you consume, to your energy output, which is why when people go on diets where they're drastically cutting their calories, or the old adage of you just have to eat less and exercise more, you might lose weight doing that for a few months, but then your body figures that out. It's like, we are putting out way more energy than we're getting in. I gotta shuttle back the amount of energy that I'm putting out. And so then the weight loss stalls. That's exactly why that happens. So with intermittent fasting, even though I really like to fast for about 20 to 21 hours and then eat within a 3 to 4 hour window, once or sometimes twice a week, I will only fast for 16 to 18 hours, and I'll eat a couple meals within that time frame, just so my body can't figure out what I'm doing. Because I am in a place where, number one, I'm mostly doing it for the health benefits. If you want to know more about the health benefits of fasting, I can do a whole video about that, but I'll just leave it at that, health benefits. But also, I am a 46-year-old woman, and it is just a battle. So I have to work to keep from gaining weight. And so I do have some body fat that I'd like to lose, but I'm really working to increase my muscle mass and reduce the body fat. That's why I don't want my body to figure out what I'm doing. I want to keep burning fat when I'm fasting. So it's Sunday. So on Sunday, I'm going to eat a little bit extra. So you'll see that as I go throughout the day. Let's go have a great day and eat some yummy food. Okay, so one of my favorite meals is eggs with some vegetables. And so my favorite is tomatoes and spinach. And if I'm eating cheese, I'll add some feta, which I really love. But I'm not going to have that today. And I thought I bought cherry tomatoes at the store, but I guess I didn't. I couldn't find them. So instead, I do have my spinach. I have some baby bellas, which aren't looking super fabulous. I think I need to use those. So I'm going to cut up a couple of those. I'm going to cook everything in my ghee. I had a little bit of some of my homemade ghee left. And because I don't have fresh tomatoes, I'm just going to use a little bit of this salsa. This is a great one that I found at Aldi. It's organic, double fire roasted, and it's pretty mild. And look at the ingredients. It's really, really clean ingredients. And it tastes very good. So Aldi is a treasure trove if you haven't tried that. And then because feta gives that little bit of vinegary taste, I'm going to add just a little bit of hot sauce at the end to get that flavor in my eggs. Okay, it is supper time, and this big mess of ingredients is going to make some good old-fashioned comfort food. So this is going to be just like a beef and potato casserole. I was kind of in the mood for a burger and fries, but I just don't want to go out. So this is my ground beef. I buy it when it's on sale in bulk, and then I portion it. Right now I'm doing 1 1/4 pounds. That typically works for my family. So I'm just going to cook the beef with this onion and mushrooms and a bell pepper. Season that up with salt and pepper. I'm going to peel and cube some of these organic Yukon Gold potatoes, probably 3 of those. And then in goes a cup of milk. I'm going to use almond milk, but thickened with a little bit of arrowroot. And I'm going to stick it in the oven and let it get all thick and yummy. And while it's cooking, I'm going to make some pimento cheese. I'm just really craving pimento cheese. And I just have lots of bits of different types of cheese. So I've got a little bit of cheddar. There's some mozzarella, which I know is not traditional, but it's what I got. This is my homemade mayonnaise, but I have turned it into a salad dressing. So it has some hot sauce and mustard in it, which I would put in my pimento cheese anyway. So I'm just going to use that. I have some zucchini relish, which is like pickle relish, but made with zucchini, and a little bit of my home canned jalapeno peppers. All that's going to get mixed up in my pimento cheese. Once my burger and potato mixture is cooked, I'm going to put in some ketchup and mustard, top it with some cheese, stick it under the broiler, and it'll be like a homemade burger and fry bonanza. My meat is frozen, so it's going to take a little while. want it to brown, so I'm going to turn this on high. I want that liquid to cook out. This is grass-fed beef. It's very lean. So, and you notice I didn't put any oil in my skillet. This cast iron is really old. It's very well seasoned. I really don't need to add oil unless I'm making something like pancakes in this skillet. So I'm going to leave the lid off at this point, even though my meat is still frozen. I'm just going to keep working it. That way it'll brown. The liquid will cook out faster. I wouldn't have put the lid on anyway, but with the meat frozen, having the lid on helps it cook faster. You need to season as you go. I just keep putting in about 1/8 of a teaspoon at a time. See all that liquid in there? It's okay. I mean, I'm going to be cooking potatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of arrowroot to thicken it up. But I just don't want, goodness, I did it again. I don't want a ton of unnecessary liquid in there. All right, well, that's still going. I'm going to move over here and work on my mac and cheese. I'm using my little food processor. If you don't have one of these, it's one of my most used kitchen tools. I talk about it all the time. I use it all the time. Highly recommend. This is the Aldi version of Kerrygold grass-fed cheddar. It's this. Looks like this. There's a gray package, a blue package, and this green one. Mature, mild, and I think the other one's called vintage. So one is just sharper than the other, and I can never remember which one we like better, and so I always buy both. So you saw I didn't measure that. At this one, it doesn't really matter. You're just going to start putting stuff in to make it taste the way that you like. So, yikes, throw stuff on the floor. It's going to probably need most of this. There was probably only 1/4 cup of dressing in there. This is just about ready. I'm in a teeny bit of a hurry. Normally I would let this actually brown a little bit. But you can see I got most of that liquid to evaporate, which is just what I wanted. I'm going to chop my potatoes, and while I'm chopping those, this will probably brown. I tasted it for seasoning. The smaller you cut your potatoes, the faster they'll cook. So I cut mine fairly small. So this measuring cup has 1 cup of almond milk and about 2 tablespoons of arrowroot. Just stir that together. You could use cassava flour if you didn't have arrowroot, or tapioca starch. Either one would work. So I told you I'm just making this up. It's not a recipe, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking probably 1 tablespoon of arrowroot would have been great. That's gotten a little too thick, so I'm just going to get a little more almond milk. Now I tasted my meat and vegetable mixture, and it tasted, the seasoning was just right, but I just added potatoes. So I'm going to want to add a little more salt. Now at this point you could put this right in the oven. So I really just want a little bit more liquid in there. You could add water, you could add broth. I'm just going for the rich and creamy. So that's why I'm using the almond milk. Alright, so I'm going to let this go on my stovetop for a few minutes, and that will help it cook a little faster, and then I'll pop it into the oven. Alright, let's get back to this pimento cheese. So if you're not from the South, this might be not something you're particularly familiar with, but but I don't have to describe it to you because you're going to see what it is. Everybody adds different stuff to their pimento cheese. Zucchini relish or even pickle relish is probably a little bit unusual, but I like it, so that's why I use it. That was just a heaping tablespoon of pickled jalapenos, and then I added a little more of the brine because I really love that. I think I'm just going to need all of this. So I could have just made a new batch of mayonnaise, but you know, it lasts in the fridge for a week, maybe up to 2 weeks. I've occasionally made a batch and then forgotten about it and not used it, and it was fine. But I wouldn't let it go much longer than that. So this one is about a week old already when I made it into the salad dressing last night. So I just want to go ahead and use that up. And like I said, it already had mustard in it. It had hot sauce and a teeny bit of either honey or maple syrup. I can't remember. So it was like a spicy honey mustard. I don't think I put any salt in here yet, so let me give this a taste. I got a good taste of those jalapenos. It's really good. Just a little bit of salt. So normally pimento cheese would have pimentos, but like I said, I use the pickled jalapenos and my zucchini relish, which has some onions and bell peppers in it. Okay, let me give that another taste. Delicious. Okay guys, so this was under the broiler for just about 3 minutes, and look how that melted and got a little bit browned. I mean, this is just comfort on a plate or in a bowl. Meat, potatoes, some vegetables, a sauce just made out of almond milk and some arrowroot to thicken, a little cheese on top. I hope my kids will love it. If not, they're on their own. I know that is super messy and I need to clean that, but there's our home substitute for a burger and fries, and would have been totally paleo if I had not put that cheese on top. And let's see, without the, so you could use coconut milk instead of almond milk. I'm thinking about how to make this autoimmune paleo. Switch out the milk for coconut, and then obviously no cheese, and don't put in the bell pepper. If you want to add another veggie, use squash or some greens. It would be delicious. Okay, so what do you think? That's it for my what I eat in a day for the month of April. A typical, atypical day. No day is the same for me. And, you know, again, I just want to give you a little bit of stats about me. And I tell you this because there's one clinical nutritionist that has a YouTube channel, and I really like her. I enjoy watching the videos that she puts out, and I think she puts out a lot of great information. But she does these what I eat in a day videos, and they're super popular. They get just many thousands of views. And she eats a ton of food. I mean, she is a thin person and she eats a ton. And if you follow her regularly, you know that in kind of in this one phase, this one section of time when she was putting out these videos, she was pregnant and she was nursing. And she never said that in her videos. And I was watching and thinking, how can you even stomach that quantity of food? But I remember when I was nursing my kids, and I wasn't pregnant at the same time, I was hungry all the time. I was ravenous. I mean, I can still remember the quantity of food that I consumed, and I was super thin. I mean, I hardly gained any weight when I was pregnant, and I lost it very quickly as well. But I remember eating a whole bunch. So I just tell you that to bear that in mind if you watch these types of videos from other people. They may not be sharing what their actual life circumstances are. I'm a 46-year-old female. I am 5'3". I exercise every day. I sit at my desk a lot of the day. I do have a sedentary job in that I work in front of a computer, but I also am a work-at-home mom, and I homeschool my kids. I exercise, a concerted workout every day for an hour. And then I try to walk once a day. Right now, while we're quarantined, my husband and I are walking 2, sometimes 3 times a day. And I try to make myself get up every hour. And that's my excuse to go switch out the laundry, go fill up my water bottle, use the bathroom. I'm drinking a ton of water with this intermittent fasting, so I have to use the bathroom a lot. So about once an hour, I just try to get up. I'll check on the kids. How are they doing with their school? But even if so you might think, wow, that's super active. I'm sitting for maybe 6 hours in a day, which is a lot. So that just gives you an idea of what my energy output is compared to what my energy input is, what you're seeing me eat in a day. So hey there, everybody, it's the next day. I just want to say a little bit more about one of my food choices yesterday, specifically the pimento cheese. Okay, so stick with me here. First of all, if you're not from the South and you do not know what pimento cheese is, I can say I'm right there with you. I'm from Ohio, and when I first moved to North Carolina in elementary school, I remember my friends at lunch having these sandwiches made with this weird orange stuff. And I was like, what is that? And they tried to describe it to me, and I thought that it looked and sounded absolutely disgusting. So I was, of course, prejudiced against pimento cheese for a very long time. And then I saw the light and I tried it. And of course, I loved it. Now, being a mostly paleo eating person, pimento cheese is not something that I have very often. However, it's one of those foods that every once in a while I'll get a craving for it. Like once a year, maybe twice a year. Every once in a while, like once every 2 years, I'll find it on a restaurant menu in a format that I can eat, like a dip that comes with vegetables. That's really, really delicious, by the way. Or like a topping for a bunless burger, something like that, and I'll eat that in a restaurant. But usually it's just something that occasionally I'll have a craving for it, and then I'll buy it at the grocery store. And in North Carolina, most of our grocery stores have 4, 5, 6, 10 different varieties of pimento cheese to choose from. It's sort of a craft food in this part of the country. And so I'll buy it and I love it and I'll eat it and then I'll feel sick. And then I'll end up throwing it away because nobody else in my house eats it. And so my pimento cheese craving struck about a week or so ago, and I was shopping and I was, looking at the different ones, and I talked myself out of buying it, thinking I'm going to eat a little bit of it. It's going to make me feel bad, and I'm going to end up throwing it away. It'll be a waste. It's expensive. So I was like, I'll just do without. Well, yesterday when I was making that beef and potato thing and thinking, I'd really like to put some American cheese on top of this, I thought, pimento cheese would be great, but I didn't buy any. I was like, wait a minute, I can make pimento cheese. Okay, so here are the ingredients. It's cheese, and it can be any kind of cheese you like. Most people do a combo of a couple cheeses, one being a sharp cheddar and the other being something else, okay? You saw me, I put in a little bit of mozzarella, which is not normal, but it was what I had. And then mayonnaise and seasonings. Worcestershire sauce is normal, hot sauce is normal, salt and pepper if you want that, and of course pimentos, which are a type of pepper. Okay, so I didn't have pimentos. It's not something we typically eat, but I had my home pickled jalapenos and I had some of my homemade zucchini relish, and so I made my pimento cheese that way. So here's the difference. I was using grass-fed cheddar cheese, and I used my homemade mayonnaise, which is made with avocado oil and a pastured egg. So when I eat pimento cheese that I buy at the store, no matter how expensive or craft it is, it's made with a soybean or canola oil mayonnaise. It is not grass-fed cheddar cheese. And so that's probably why that food makes me sick. I tell you this to hopefully encourage you. If there's a food that you're really craving and it's something that you don't eat often, or maybe it's just kind of off your diet and you think, when I eat that I feel bad, maybe you can make a version of it that's not going to make you feel bad. I'm going to write down that I need to develop my pimento cheese recipe and actually write down a recipe for it and publish that, because I was going to say, look for a recipe, just Google paleo version of, not pimento cheese, because, that wouldn't apply, but maybe primal version of pimento cheese. And I'm also thinking of something like chocolate, you know. So maybe you don't want to make your own chocolate. Maybe you do. I've tried to do it. I've bought the cocoa butter and, you know, the good cocoa nibs and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a disaster for me. I didn't care enough to try to make that work. So I just have, and there's a lot of great quality chocolate on the market. Another personal example, I love peanut butter cups. And I specifically love Justin's white chocolate peanut butter cups. They're not very sweet, and I just really love the flavor of those. Well, I can buy a whole bag of the miniature ones, and then they're tempting me for a good month at a time. Or I can just buy the pack, you know, like Reese's, it comes with a pack of 2 cups. I can just buy that 1 pack and have the 2, and I'll eat one and I'll put the other in the freezer. So at most I have 2 indulgences. So either figure out how to make a version at home that suits your health needs, or 2, buy a very limited quantity. Like thinking back to the pimento cheese, in some, like at Costco, they sell a big box of it in these little individual serving cups. If I could buy one of those little individual serving cups, that would be perfect for me. But I can't find those anywhere. But at some grocery stores, they have all that, you know, grab and go type food, where they have their own sort of versions of Lunchables and that kind of stuff that they've put together. Sometimes I will see those little single serve cups of avocado or like salad dressings, applesauce, that kind of thing. So you might be able to find a single serving of something like that. So that's just my little tip for you. Make it work for you, you know, satisfy that craving, but see if you can do it in a way that is not going to derail your health. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this type of video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video, especially. We want to share the message that you can control your health with what you put in your body. And it doesn't have to be all boiled broccoli and chicken. It can be super duper tasty, comforting, old homemade classic type recipes like chicken pot pie. We can eat that kind of really tasty stuff and still be super healthy. So help me spread that message. And as always, I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.